Hey you, wait a minute, never mind. You're not likely wanting to hear my tale of sorrow, woe, and disdain, are you? Oh, wait, you are? Gee willikers, guys! I'm so happy that I'm about to explode Snicker bars in my pants. Oh wait, wrong video. Anyway, does anybody remember the show Report of the Week? You know, that show that involves a young man by the name of, what's this guy's name again? Ah, well, it doesn't matter. What you should know, however, is that the Report of the Week is very well known for his food reviews, and wearing a suit like Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother. Seriously though, the guy's pretty cool, even though he looks like a 12-year-old in a suit. But there was one day in my non-existent life that made me look at Report of the Week in a very different lighted spectacle. I was out at my local Burger King getting one of those impossible Whoppers that had just come out, because my vegan cult leader Onision told me that I'd be an evil monster if I ate meat ever again. And despite the fact that the meat from Burger King is actually made of humans anyway. Anyway, I ordered my 6th Impossible Burger for lunch from the drive-thru box thingy, and then made my way over towards the drive-thru window to pay for my delicious vegan meal, despite the fact that it had cheese on it. However, what was really odd was that when I made my way to the window, the cashier looked different. She wasn't the usual happy-go-lucky girl that attempted to give me a lap dance every time I tried ordering from that establishment in order to pay her bills. Instead, she looked like Report of the Week, but with long blonde hair and bosoms the size of my FICO score. She didn't smile at me, but instead handed me my bag of food while saying, "You enjoy that fast food delicacy, my good man." I was slightly confused. I mean, what the hell was Report of the Week doing working at a Burger King? And most shockingly, why did he have long blonde hair and giant bosoms? These thoughts continued to race into my mind as I drove, which lasted for a good 5 minutes before I quickly forgot about everything that had just happened and made my way to my apartment. Well, actually, it wasn't really an apartment. It was just a local abandoned shed that I had converted into my tiny home. It was very broken down and needed to be demolished, but hey, as long as I had food, water, and internet, and George Jetson plushies, I didn't care. So I opened up the door to my crumbling shed and made my way inside. As I did this, I said hello to my cat, McDonald Lampingus III, and sat down on my rotting kitchen table and pulled out my Whopper and began eating it. However, when I took my first bite, I was met with something hard, plasticky, and rectangular. I opened up the bun and saw that the meat, or in this case plant meat grown in a factory, had been replaced by a VHS tape that I had already taken a bite out of. I was super pissed off at this point. I began having a tantrum and crying like a baby that I didn't get my sandwich right. After thoroughly breaking everything in my house in a fit of rage and like a child, I took a closer look at the tape. On the cover, written in mayonnaise, was "The Report of the Week Lost Episode." This piqued my curiosity on so many levels, so I took it over to my broken VHS player, which, like I said, was broken, I might add, and put the tape in it. However, just as I put the tape on, something in my head clicked. How in the heck did someone of a sophisticated quality in life, grammar, and food decide to place a lost episode of himself onto something as crappy and obsolete as a VHS tape? As my mind began to wander around, like it does because of my many mental illnesses, the tape started up. The episode began in a rather close-up shot of George Jetson ordering a sandwich from a fast food joint, which I found kind of funny. Then, once the scene ended, it cut back to the show, Report of the Week, sitting down on a chair, which was instantly halted as the sound of a whoopee cushion came from a seat. However, no whoopee cushion could be found. My sincerest apologies. My stomach area has been giving me constant flatulence after that last review. I think I also defecated myself as well, the Report of the Week said in his monotone voice as he plopped down into the chair, with visible fecal matter squirting up his nice pants and staining them in the process. Anyway, hello everyone. This is Running on Empty Food Review, and today I'm going to be trying the brand new Impossible Whopper at Burger King, he said as he licked his lips demonically. Now, things honestly were going by pretty normally for the Report of the Week kind of episode. I mean, the Impossible Whopper was a relatively new thing, and it was already out by now. so it would only seem appropriate for him to review it on his channel, I guess. Now, this is where things got really strange. He immediately got up from his seat and took his camera over to where his garage was, before opening up the door and grabbing a small crowbar from a shelf. I was getting slightly confused as to what he was doing with a crowbar and what that had to do with the review, until I saw it. The scene cut to him walking over to a Honda Civic, which looked very familiar to the one I had out in my yard. Hell, it even had the small blue penguin bobblehead that I got at the 99-cent store for Christmas last year. He then turned over to the camera and said with an evil, devilish grin, "Instead of procuring my vehicle, today we're going to be hijacking this one instead." Then he proceeded to smash in one of my windows and hotwire the car in such a clean and prestigious way that it was honestly flawless and amazing. But what got to me was that one of my car's windows had been bashed in a month from somebody, but I could never figure out who or what it was that did it, or why. Report of the Week then proceeded to drive it out of the driveway as the car was parked on, and then proceeded to make his way over to the nearest Burger King, while ranting about the economic status of America in 2019, and how the Illuminati are secretly McDonald's hamburgers in disguise, waiting to give us the mark of the beast at any point in time. Okay. It was kind of weird, but okay then. After about 12 seconds of this jarring and rather inspirational rant and tale, Report of the Week made his way over towards the drive-thru with an evil satanic smirk, and what looked like mustard stains all over his face. Once he was at the box he used to take your order and shit, he began rapping. "Yo, I'd like to order the Impossible Whopper with meat made from a scientific dropper, with no onions or even a drop of beef, or else I'll make you go and sniff my feet." Well, I didn't know that the Report of the Week could rap, although his rapping skills were pretty lackluster to say the least. I mean, I give it a 1 out of 10. I guess it's true. White people can't rap at all. After he finishes his crappy rap and order, he drives up to the drive-thru window and then proceeds to get his meal, but not before vomiting mayonnaise from his mouth all over the person who was serving him his food, who apparently didn't seem to care. In fact, the person ran inside of there and proceeded to do a bunch of weird stuff with the mayo. I can't exactly say that because YouTube will screw me over, but still. The contents of the mayo, I might add, were so realistic that it didn't even look like it was a video effect done for the sake of making a better quality video. It was actually pretty gross, to say the least. I mean, come on. Mayo's fucking disgusting. Then in an instant, the scene cut back to the Report of the Week at his house. Mayonnaise still splattered all over his fancy suit and tie. But there was something wrong about the house. It looked exactly like my house. In fact, it was my house. And he was even sitting down on my kitchen table with a bag of food near him. How in the ever-living droopy dog did Report of the freaking Week break into my freaking house without me freaking knowing? It didn't make any freaking logical sense. I was about to call the freaking cops on this finely dressed YouTube individual when I saw that Report of the Week had already started the review of the sandwich. So I proceeded to take my iPhone X12 and then chuck it into the trash and keep watching this wonderful film. Taking the sandwich in his hands, Report of the Week immediately opened it up and gasped so loudly that it shattered my prized 2-ton toy from Bad Dragon. That son of a biscuit eater! I worked all my life getting that toy. I had to spend all my life savings just to get that crappy little toy from Bad Dragon. How dare he sit there and shatter it on impact despite the fact that it's made from plastic? He then proceeded to start growing red in the face as hyper-realistic mayonnaise streamed down his eyes. "This has onions on it," he began. "It has onions on it, people. Onions. What the fuck?" Report yells. I gasped in horror, and then proceeded to poop myself. He swore! Report of the Week actually swore in a video! This was completely unacceptable in my Christian Minecraft community house server. I would have flagged his video for swearing, but since it was a VHS tape and not YouTube, I couldn't really do too much. Report of the Week then proceeded to walk off screen and pull out a double-barrel shotgun and blow the sandwich into smithereens with it, splattering the camera with bits of food and onions and, to my surprise, Big Mac sauce. All the while, his body slowly started to turn white and creamy looking. He then opened his mouth and said in a sad voice, "I don't like onions." And with that, he started to cry. And with every drop of tears that fell from his eyes, he started to grow more and more creamy looking. His skin became more of a yellowish white tint that Heinz mayonnaise tends to have, while chunks of his white, blotchy body splattered onto the ground. He then looked up at the screen and vomited ketchup, or hyperrealistic blood, I don't know, and then turned into a large glop of mayo right then and there, before ending the episode, right then and there. Well, as you would have probably expected, this particular viewing of this episode really made me rather upset and angry. Or, to put it bluntly, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Seriously, my day was ruined because of this tape. I mean, for one, why in the hell did Report of the Week steal my freaking car? Why was he crying mayonnaise out of his eyes? And most importantly, how is that even a review? He just got pissed off, blew a sandwich to Kingdom Come, vomited hyper-realistic ketchup while crying mayonnaise, and then proceeded to turn into a large glop of mayo right in the middle of his, well, kitchen. 2 out of 10. Could have been better. Then just as I was about to take the tape out and eat the rest of it in my sandwich for lunch, I got a knock on my door. I went up and opened it, only to find the Report of the Week standing at my fucking door. He looked rather displeased at me, and then held out his hands and said, "You have my video harboring system tape. Please return it to me before I proceed to insert my fully polished black leather dress shoes up your rectum and into your colon." I wasn't scared by this little 12-year-old kid. I slammed the door in his face and told him to fuck off. That is until he smashed my door down with a life-size Impossible Whopper that was about the size of my freaking house, or in this case, shed. He then dropped the sandwich on top of me, and then proceeded to give me an ass-kicking of all ass-kickings. In fact, he kicked my ass so well that my entire buttocks flew off my body and landed in a crock pot, which cooked for a good 12 hours with some nice spices and made for a pretty tasty meal the next day. I lied there on the floor, bleeding, splattered in mayonnaise, crying at how my Lord and Savior Report of the Week had betrayed me. He simply smiled and then went to the VCR, took a dump on it, and then opened it up, grabbing the tape from its holster. He then walked past out of the door, and then said, "My day has not been ruined," and then left. I never heard from him since. Well, if anything, I always taught a good lesson that day. Don't eat VHS tapes from Burger King, because if you do, famous fast food reviewers on YouTube might be lurking out there ready to tear you apart with their shoes and kick your ass literally right off of your body without getting a suit wrinkled. And nobody wants that, do they? No. Nobody wants that at all. The end. In fear and surprise as your eyes widen, your mouth goes dry with each battered breath. You try to scream, your mind begs to leave, glued to your computer screen. The killers they slash, the tapes burn and crash. The cartridge you bought will be your final haunt. The rituals of hate will seal your fate. The tears you shed will be from the fear-gripping, horror-driven, nightmarish, gore-filled, terrorizing, hateful, burning, violent, rage-inducing, knife-slashing, blood-splattering, silent screams. Only time will tell if you will escape this online hell. Your horror-filled obsessions will come with its own regressions. your pathetic screams will not be heeded in any way, because your nightmares will come at any day.